V8s are going away, and this is the last V8 Lexus. I'll include a link to the Larry Miller, Lexus & Murray's website in the description down below. Also include a link to my car buying guide. Let's get right into it. Under the hood, we have a 5-liter V8 that goes through an 8-speed, fuel economy 17 around town, 25 on the highway, with power outputs being 472 horsepower and then 395 pound-feet of torque. I'm trying to hit 500,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I'd really appreciate it if you'd help out with that. I love the hood design on this, really angular with the lines, and it raises up towards the center. Super sharp headlight design. You can see the trim below the headlights blacked out. And then other than the Lexus logo, the whole grille is blacked out too, which makes this look slightly more aggressive than a regular IS. I do think this is one of the best iterations of Lexus's waterfall grille on a car in terms of the sizing and proportions. Tire wheel setup up front is 235 by 40 by 19, and we have the cool blacked out brake caliper with the Lexus logo. In the rear, it is 265 by 35 by 19, so slightly staggered setup. Now, instead of an IS 500 badge, you just have an F Sport badge on the side. Here's your side profile, really sharp with the lines, and I like the blacked out mirror caps and the darker wheels, create some contrast. This leads us to the key fob. Yes, this is Lexus's old unit. That's just basically a square, but you've got your lock and unlock opening for the trunk too. Now, when it comes to spacing, this is a little bit smaller than a Camry in terms of overall size and space. It's still practical enough, and closing it is very simple. I've got this cool blacked out spoiler on the back. Light bar design there with the taillights. You got the IS 500 badge as well. And then you have 4 exhaust tips, 2 stacked on either side. Here's a better view of the rear end and then that light bar that I was talking about too. I think we can all agree that if it just comes down to looks, this is a really good looking car in this segment. Let's now pop inside. Two-tone coloration with the door pane. You got the black on the top, red on the bottom. Nice perforated trim all down the center of the seats. They're also bright red, as you can see. Now, space here in the passenger part is going to be a little bit more cramped. You do, however, get some vents. And I do technically fit back here when it comes to headroom. You guys probably noticed a little sunshade there behind me. Now, the front does have keyless entry. That same two-tone design continues on the front door panel. We've got blind spot monitoring with the mirrors. This also comes with memory seats. The mirrors power fold in, and you've got a pretty nice finish on all the controls. And then the front seats, again, red, perforated all down the center, power adjustments, lumbar support. The passenger seat's just power adjustable. This does come with a nice finish on the pedals. And then on the left side of the steering wheel, you've got your shortcut button for the 360 camera to close the sunshade, and then your normal latches and stuff to open up the trunk and the hood. Start her up. Perforated trim on either side of the steering wheel. You can see that F Sport logo there at the bottom. This has practical controls on the front face for the center stack for your adaptive cruise control. It actually has the old stock there on the back for that. And then controls for your voice command volume controls on the left side. We do have nice paddles there on the back of the steering wheel, and then you've got traditional stocks here on the back too. This has the best gauge cluster I think Lexus has ever done. It's obviously not as customizable as the new fully digital, but the fact that it moves side to side there I think is really cool, and you still have enough digital elements to it to make it relatively customizable. Now, the coloration on the camera is actually kind of darker in tone, but yeah, 360 camera with this one. Now, as for the infotainment system, it is a touchscreen, but this also has Lexus's old keypad system, so whichever one you use. And again, the camera's struggling to pick it up because of the kind of darker coloration. Normal Lexus fashion, nice trim here on the dash, tight fit and finish. We've got a clock down below, and then we have our analog controls here for the dual zone climate. And this has lots of analog controls. This is for the radio, and then we've got controls for the heated ventilated seats and heated steering wheel. Shifter for the 8-speed automatic. It does have that manual mode. Again, that's what the paddles are for. Drive mode select is right next to that with your snow mode, shortcut for stability, and then your auto hold. Here's that keypad that controls the infotainment system. Cup holders right next to it, and then the center console's got good space with some USB ports and a 12-volt. And this does come with just a standard sunroof. 2025 IS 500, $66,598. I find it impressive they haven't increased the price on this in years. Let's see how it drives. IS 500. Who knows how much longer they'll do this for? I don't know if there's going to be a 26. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. I like to just, I stopped reading car news, to be honest, because half of it's fake. Like, you know, you always hear about fake news, and it's like, car news, like, not all of it's fake, but a lot of it is. And so it's like, I'll just wait and see what pops up. Like, until a car's at a dealership's, like in a dealership's parking lot, to me, it doesn't exist. That's just my 2 cents on that. Now, this is cool. We have this silky smooth 5-liter naturally aspirated V8. Doesn't get better than this. It's so funny it has a rear shade back there. At least I think it's funny. Now, this car, I think, is actually aged pretty well. There is one downside, and we will talk about that in a bit. But here's why I think this car is aged so well. The style, it looks cool. Like, whenever I see one of these on the road, it's like, that's a cool looking car. Lexus, right, they mostly focus on selling SUVs and stuff, and so I'm used to seeing like the Lexus SUVs around, but these, you don't see that many of them. Interior, it feels really nice. Like, yeah, there are some plastics in here, but everything feels very tight with a fit and finish. And you have to remember, it's over 60 grand, which is expensive, but this is similar in price to, like, it's just barely more expensive than a Mercedes C300. This is about the same price as a mid-level BMW M340i, right? So we're not talking about like crazy up there in terms of the luxury car world. So but again, in the segment, it's got a nice interior, and these materials, they hold up well over the long term. So it does what it needs to do. The suspension's also smooth, comfortable. It's got pretty good insulation, so it's pretty quiet. It's got a lot going from it from that perspective, and you just hear that V8 rumble in the background the whole time, which is definitely nice. I love the gauge cluster change. Such a cool feature that they have with this. And luxury features, right? Heated and cooled seats, heated steering wheel, 360 camera. It's kind of everything that you want. Yeah, it's a little bit more of an old school setup, but I mean, like, I drive the car that I bought for myself is a 200 series Land Cruiser, and that has, somewhat outdated tech compared to the newest stuff, and I don't mind. It's like, it's got a 360 camera. I'm like, that's all I really use, and I, listen to music occasionally on the radio, but I think it's got enough. I think that cars have become over techy, and so like this is a breath of fresh air in terms of the amount of tech. I think it's a good balance. Now the V8. Yeah, it's got some power. So this isn't going to be quite as like snappy as, again, a BMW M340i. That has a less horsepower, quite substantially, but it's got a quicker shifting transmission, and that turbo inline 6 is really torquey on the low end. This, not so much. I mean, look at the transmission here. It's not the worst, but there's definitely a bit of lag. It's very smooth, but it's not quite as quick as some of the modern performance cars. I don't see that as a problem, because this is the type of car that you buy, that you daily drive, and then occasionally you stomp on it and you have this wonderfully smooth, powerful V8. So yeah, again, it's not as exciting in some ways, but it's also more exciting because the V8 just sounds so good. And I reviewed one of these with an exhaust, and it was a fun car. Like, the sound, fantastic. So you just gotta look at this. This is more of a luxury cruiser. It handles well. The steering's good. It's got good power. It's just not quite as crazy as some of the other modern performance cars, but they don't have a V8. So, in summary, the IS 500, in my opinion, really special car. There are some concessions to make. It's rear-wheel drive, so if you live in a place like Utah, well, kind of harder to daily drive. Not impossible, though. You just put snow tires on it. And it's not quite as performance-oriented as some of the newest stuff in the market. But what you lack in performance and what you lack in a front drive line, you make up for in a V8, a very reasonable price considering what this offers, and Lexus reliability. Not running that. Brakes work very well. Very, very well. So yeah, it's really well balanced. I think that I would rather get this compared, because the other thing is resale value, and then, like I said, the long-term reliability is like, you get the BMW and it's like you better lease it and get rid of it in 3 years, whereas this, it can last the test of time. I mean, look how many people are driving old Toyotas and Lexuses. Just saying. Let me know your thoughts.